I feel like Jeff butt dialed us and we're just like hanging out, listening to it.
Welcome to Maker's Hustle, the podcast about turning your passion into a profession. This is episode 28 for Monday, January 23rd, 2017. I'm your host, Phil Lavolsi, and here are my co-hosts, Amy Davis-Roth. Hey, Amy.
Hello.
And Jeffrey Moore. Hey, Jeff.
I trimmed my beard this week. Do you like it?
Yeah, it looks good.
Where exactly did you trim it?
I trimmed the sides.
You did? Oh.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
He trimmed that one hair right over there.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank everyone on Patreon, but especially our top supporters, Luis Gonzalez and Ryan O'Horo, plus our newest patron, Leslie Hellowell. Thank you all so much.
Welcome to the family, Leslie.
Thank you,
welcome,
Leslie. Hello.
If you would like to support the show, you can check us out at patreon.com/makershustle. Real quick, before we talk about what we're working on, I just want to point out that I said 2016 last week and nobody corrected me.
Bro, I still write 2016. And
yeah, well, I don't have to write the date like ever. So this is my version of writing the date, is I just read it out loud on the show.
Well, I plan on pretending it's 2016 for the next 4 years. So it's fine with me.
So what's everybody working on? Amy, why don't you go first?
I am working on a bunch of signs for the Women's March that will have happened by the time this podcast comes out. I had a party at my art studio last week, and a bunch of people came over, and we made all these protest signs, and I got really inspired. So I started working on another one that's actually sort of a painting. It's a portrait of a women's rights activist, I guess, is what she was most well known for, Sojourner Truth. She was born into slavery, and she was one of the first black women activists that fought for freedom and fought for women's rights as well. And she has a really famous speech called "Ain't I a Woman?" And I've been doing a lot of research and learning the history of some activists, and she really stuck out as being someone that was really moving. And it sort of touches on what we talked about last week when I was asked about, you know, my opinions of religious people, being that I'm an atheist. And she was a very religious woman, but she also did amazing things to help black people, black women, and women in general. And so it proves right there that we can all work together when we're working towards a common goal. And I think that's something really important to remember. And she's a fantastic person that I think people just don't really know much about. And her quote that I love so much, and if you've ordered anything from Surly-Ramics in the past month or so, I send out a quote in every box. And for the past month or so, I've been sending out a quote by her, which is, "Truth is powerful and it prevails." And so I'm making a sign for the protest that says that, because I think it speaks a lot to a lot of things, including this idea that there's so much fake news out there. And I just want everyone to remember that truth is powerful and it prevails. And that's by Sojourner Truth. So Google her, learn about her. And then I will post the finished painting of my protest sign as soon as I'm done with it, because I'm hoping to finish it tonight after this podcast.
Cool.
That was beautiful, Amy. That was beautiful. I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
No problem.
All right. So this week was a very intense week for me. I started a development boot camp, learning front-end, back-end development, web development, and I am using a platform called Learn. It is developed by the Flatiron School. So if you are interested, and I'll use this as my recommendation later, but if you're interested in learning how to build websites, the Flatiron School is offering a free, well, it used to be $3,000, so this is a huge value, but a pre-development boot camp class, if you want to call it, and it has a whole bunch of different exercises, and you work through build projects, and this is the pre-work that you do at home before you go into their actual program. So this is a great thing that I've been working on. I went to one of their meetups this past week, met with a lot of young people, young and old people, learning how to develop, doing the same program that I'm doing, so that's pretty cool. Also, I did a mini workshop with a couple of kids on building circuits. And so I showed them what I wanted them to do, showed them how all the little parts work. And then I taught them how to troubleshoot, which was fun because watching them struggle was very painful. But I taught them how to troubleshoot and break down the circuits into smaller parts and make sure that the smaller parts work, and then add on another part. And then, at the end of it, I had 3 kids making a circuit, and they were feeling really good about themselves. So that was probably the highlight of my week. But doing some development, teaching kids how to build circuits, and I think that was it. I feel like there's something else I did, but I can't remember right now.
That's very cool.
I probably should have wrote it down.
Yeah, that usually helps.
Probably should have wrote it down. But that was the highlight of my week.
Nice.
Very nice. Well, I have had a very, very busy week. So the first thing that I did was I cleaned the shop. It's almost done. It's actually like I actually have enough floor exposed that I'm laying down floor mats, like those foam floor mats, so my feet don't hurt. That's nice. And then I'm making a mobile base for that horizontal bandsaw that I got, which involves cutting metal on a horizontal bandsaw. So that's fun. I'm using the tool to make the tool better. That's fun. I received the prizes for the No Lathe Pen Contest, and then I launched that contest with a video that I put out yesterday. Okay. And the response to that has already been amazing, and I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with. If you haven't been listening the last couple of weeks or you want to know the details, you have to make a pen, and usually pens are made on a lathe, which is just a thing that spins wood around really fast. Instead of doing that, you cannot use a lathe. You need to make a pen using any other means you like, but no lathe. And if you win a lathe. So
that's so cool.
Can I put it on a screwdriver? I mean, not on a screwdriver, on a drill, and like spin the drill, and then with my hand do that. Would that suck, or would it?
Oh, it would suck real bad. Okay. That's a good. You're gonna shoot your eye out, kid. Be careful. Right. But you can totally do that. It cannot be a lathe. You can put it in a drill press like I did in that other video. That's fine because it's not a lathe. It's a drill press. But just, so far everyone's been coming up with some really crazy ideas, and I can't wait to see what happens.
How about trained beavers?
Trained beavers?
Yeah.
If you manage to train beavers in the next month,
well,
I am impressed. You probably win.
You deserve 2 prizes.
Yeah, if you do that, I will hand deliver the prize and then give you a round of applause while you set it up, okay?
I'm on it.
All right. But then the last thing that happened was, two more things. I got a visit from my friend Charlie, who was in town, and he stopped by the shop and kind of hung out for a while. And we went and had dinner with my wife, and while I was out to dinner, I get a text from Amy saying, you need to check Facebook right now. And of course, I don't have Facebook installed on my phone anymore, and my signal is terrible, and that's rude. I'm not gonna, go on Facebook at dinner. So I'm going, just, take a screenshot and show me. And she says no. So when I get home, I find out that a bunch of people in a Facebook maker group that are apparently appreciative of the kind of stuff that I do got together and bought me a lathe. So it's on its way here, and I'm really humbled and embarrassed by the whole thing, but thank you all very much, including you two. I saw it. You donated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You are loved. So many people love you.
Super funny. That was the thing I forgot to mention.
48
hours. To mention that.
But that was the thing that I did this week, or that we were kind of a part of this week.
Yeah, a guy named Jeremy Crawford put it all together. He's on the Woodshop 101 podcast. So Jeremy, thank you. That was way too nice of you.
It was super sweet. He emailed us all stealth-like.
Yeah,
and
it was
we
super
just spread
funny.
the word around, because we post it publicly.
The part that kills me is that Charlie knew about it, okay? And Charlie donated $20, and Charlie sat across from me at dinner and didn't say a word.
Didn't say a word.
He knew the whole time.
Yeah, we all knew. I think that's the sweetest thing ever. It made me so happy. I love that group, and I love how supportive everyone is of each other and of good people like you, Bill, and you deserve it. So
yes. It was kind of funny because right after that happened, you put the lathe challenge out, and I saw that you had a lathe. I'm like, wait, could have kept this one, but no, it's funny.
No, this one, the one for the contest, was donated by Rockler.
Yeah.
I got in touch with somebody over there and just explained what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And they said it sounds like a great idea, and they sent over $700 worth of stuff. So I have a bunch of boxes. Right after I clean my garage, I have a bunch of boxes taking up more room, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's
so
funny.
somebody needs to win this thing so I can get them out of my garage again.
You're going to make someone really happy, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to make myself cry because I realize that I have to pay to ship that stuff, and it's 95 pounds of stuff.
I was just
It's
thinking.
heavy.
Hopefully,
wow.
hopefully it's not overseas.
Oh, with my luck, it will.
It will be overseas.
All right. What are we
Maybe
talking
you could
about this
figure
week?
out a way, if that happens, to auction off the lathe you have and then let the person, if they happen to be in another country, buy their own or something. Maybe there's a way to do it.
We'll figure something out. I have some friends who actually work in the shipping business, so maybe they can help me figure out a cheaper way to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
Or
All right.
you can hire Amazon, and they have drones that drop things off at your doorstep.
Yeah, drone ain't gonna pick this thing up, bro.
Oh yeah, true.
Not yet.
Not
No.
yet.
Yeah, okay, topic this week. We're talking about comfort zone and being in it, getting outside it. Is it good? Is it bad? Etc. So on. And this is something that came up I've been thinking about this since last week because we were talking to Mark. By the way, if you haven't listened to that episode, go check it out. I think it went really well. I think we had a great conversation, and Mark he has a lot of insight because he's been doing this for so long.
Yes.
But for him, he does woodworking. He does fine woodworking, traditional woodworking. So this, bar top arcade that he just did, that's outside his comfort zone because now he's incorporating electronics and stuff that he doesn't normally use.
True.
And it just got me thinking about how, I basically structured my YouTube channel such that I'm always going outside my comfort zone. I don't like to do the same thing twice. I don't even like to do similar things too often because I get bored really, really easily. So, I don't know, thinking about that made me realize that the comfort zone is kind of different for everyone. And maybe we could spend some time talking about that.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Mark, although I guess he's making something unusual for himself, he sort of recommended that it was good to stay doing the same thing because that's a way for you to build an audience, because people come to you because they want to learn traditional woodworking, and that's what he continues to do over and over again. It's a lot like writing a hit song. Once you get something that's good, if you keep at it, your audience wants to hear more of the same thing. So if you release an album that's completely different from the music that made you a star, your fans aren't going to appreciate it. So it's sort of a dangerous thing to do when you're building a business, to go outside of your comfort zone in a sense. But like you, Bill, I happen to agree that it's fun to try something new, and it's good to try something new. So in my case, where I have to actually sort of create the same thing over and over again, and we've talked about it before, I've created 18,000 necklaces by hand. They're all ultimately the same sort of thing. They're the same basic shapes, and they're the same sort of process, but I do try to expand on that idea as best that I can every year by coming up with new designs and new ideas, and I always want to keep it fresh. So I think that that's really good because you can get bored, but you do also have to keep in mind that if you're running a business, people are going to expect a certain thing from you. They will come back to you year after year to buy things and to replace things that they've either given away or lost or what have you, and so they want to be able to find that same sort of item again. So it's a fine line, and I don't know how to approach it really. I'm not sure what the best thing to do. I do think it's really important to learn new things on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
And to try new things. And as artists, as creative people, it's really easy to get bored if you don't try new things. So I'm not sure that there's really a correct answer to this thought at all. I'm not sure what's better. I try to do both, and thankfully that's why I have my Patreon, because that allows me some freedom to make art and to be really creative and to sort of go off the rails and try things that are new. But with surly-ramics, I still have to sort of stick to a basic formula if I want to keep the business going.
Yeah. Well, especially, Amy, with your stuff, every time you make a new design, you have to have a new mold made.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're producing an existing design, you're getting more life out of that existing mold.
Yeah.
So every time you come up with a new design, that's an added cost for you.
It is. But also, people expect that from me as well. They want to come back each year and see something new, but they also want to see all the stuff that they've seen before. So it's, like I said, it's like a balancing act to figure out, what is the best course of action to take if you want to preserve your business. If you're doing it purely to be creative and you don't really care about your bottom line and you don't care about selling, I suppose you could do whatever you want. You could just throw the clay up in the air or whatever it is and let it land and fire it that way, and maybe someone will love it. But if you want something specific, it's sort of a lot like branding in my sense. Like if you see one of my ceramic necklaces, you've seen it on the television show Bones, people immediately recognized it and got in touch with me. It's something that's like it's iconic, like what it is. And if I were to go too far off the rails on that, then I think I would disappoint a lot of my fans. So it's difficult to stay creative while still maintaining that symbolism that keeps you,
that made you.
Yeah. So
question, what do you do with all your molds? So if you make a new mold every time you make a new design, do you have to keep your molds?
Yeah. So I have like one of those tool chests, those like red tool chests with the drawers.
Oh, yeah.
And I have them like alphabetized, and I have this really terrible organizational setup where I organize them, A, B, C, D, E, F, but like who knows what word I was thinking of when I put it in the letter thing.
So I've
got these big drawers of molds, and half the time I still can't find what I'm looking for. It takes me like 3 hours. Yeah.
I'm looking for the one with the red flower. Is it under R for red or F for flower?
Right, or, is it under R for rose, or is it under T for tulip? Like, what was I thinking at the time when I did that? And some of them, like, I have listed under Amy's drawings of flowers. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then whenever someone orders a custom order from me, or like it's their logo or something strange like that, I keep those molds forever too. So I've been doing this for over a decade. So I have these molds of businesses and things that probably don't even exist anymore. But I keep them on file because I promise my customers that if they ever come back, that they can order from that same mold again. So as long as I survive and my house doesn't burn down, I will keep all of those molds forever. So there's tons of them. It's actually kind of fun to dig through them. It's like a history project. You can see where I started and where I am now. And there's stuff in there that I've never even used. So like when I get bored and I'm trying to come up with a new idea, a lot of times I'll just dig through my molds and I'll be like, I never used this. When did I do that?
So maybe we have to open up an Amy's museum of all the molds.
It's a dream. Oh, you know what? Like my fantasy and like a perfect world would be that my house would someday be a little art museum. Like Frida Kahlo's house. When she passed away, it became a museum.
Ooh.
That would be like, but I'm not even anywhere near famous enough for that to ever happen. But maybe after I'm dead.
Well, all we need is, I'll give you the steps. All you need is a life insurance policy. So when you die, that goes into an endowment fund, and then that endowment fund pays for the house, pays for the maintenance, and that money will keep growing and growing, and it'll live on forever. That's how that's how the rich people figured it out.
Okay, I'll look into that, and I will leave it all to you as my heir, since you're much younger than me. I got you.
I'll make sure they take care of those molds. So, Amy, you're absolutely right. There is not a correct way to do this. It's whatever you feel like doing. So, really, this conversation is about what do you do, what is your perspective in the way that you choose to go down this path of being comfortable or being uncomfortable or being uncomfortable with being comfortable. Ooh, that was nice. I hope you were able to follow along with that. So I'm actually more aligned with Bill. I think that it's important for me to structure everything that I do around being uncomfortable, because I can't focus on one thing. Actually, my friends usually get on me because they say the reason why my businesses don't make me, the reason why I'm still working and hustling at the same time is because I split my time evenly across, or I split my time amongst different projects instead of focusing on one project, where if I was to focus on one project, I'd probably be further along with other projects. Like if I was able to dedicate all my time to making the Animic project work, I would have been done 6 months ago. Right. But it's only so long that I can sit down and focus on that without being distracted by something else. And so I think it's important, for me at least, that I split my time up so that I can throw as many things at the wall as possible, as many darts at the wall as possible. And whatever one picks up steam, that's the one that I spend more time with. So like right now, I just had a meeting with the Yonkers Public Library, and they dang near begging me to bring this program, but I'm still trying to weigh out my options. But while I'm sitting around waiting for my other options to call me back, I'm working on something else. And so I think it's whatever you want to do, obviously, whatever works best for you and the way that your process is. For me, my process is to do everything, whatever picks up steam, that's the one I rock out with. And as best as I can vertically integrate the things that I do. So if the thing that I'm doing is completely different, like right now, I'm not going to focus on making movies. Actually, it's funny because me and my brother and I, Sean, the guy who we had on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, he just sent me over one of his scripts, and we're planning to do a series. And for me, this is not so. I'm learning web development, trying to get better at building websites. I'm making robots. I'm putting together a STEM program. So those are things that are vertically integrated. If I'm learning one thing, then it's going to help me in the other aspects of it, right? So that to me is being along the same thought process while doing multiple things. So I'm not going to go crazy. But he just sent me a script, and I was reading through the script, and it was just giving me all these great ideas. And, we're going back and forth. I'm adding stuff to the script. And now I'm like, dang, now I'm adding one more thing, but it's not in that vertical integration of robotics and web design. And so that's something that I have to consciously say I'm only going to dedicate X amount of time to, because I can't allow it to pull me away from the things that I need to be focused on. And that's usually the argument that I give to my friends who say that I'm doing too many things. I'm like, bro, I'm doing the same thing. Just looks a little different to you because, that's not what you do. But for me, it all is the same. If you learn how to program in one language, it makes it easier to learn to program in another. It's not the same, but it does make it easier. And
yeah, it helps.
It helps a lot. A lot. That's why this web, go on.
I know. I was just going to say that I think that that's a really brilliant thought, that everything sort of has to work together. And now that I think about it, I do try to do that a lot. I've talked about it before, where I'll do an illustration and then I'll take that illustration and I'll turn it into a painting, but at the same time I'll also turn it into a mold and I'll turn it into necklaces.
Yeah.
So I think there's an ability for you to have like more of a sense of freedom in your creativity by doing multiple things, if you can find a way somehow for them to feed off of each other or to inspire those other projects that you're working on. Absolutely. And it's also really good to sort of clear your mind a little bit. They say that you're better at making decisions if you go and think about something else for a few minutes and then you come back to what it is that you're having trouble deciding on. So it's good to sort of step away and do some self-care, or do something that is like maybe still creative, but it's something that you really like to do that doesn't have something specifically to do with the business. Go watch a movie, go do something different, draw a picture, take some photos, do something different that you can then incorporate that information back into your art or to your business later.
Yeah, it's all about building capacity. And I love using that word, but it's all about building capacity, because the more the more proficient you are in doing things, right? You don't know when that proficiency is going to come in handy. Like there's times where I've developed something, or I've thought of something, or I've practiced something that had nothing to do with robotics, but then that process or that idea I've utilized in the robotics. And that is really that's really the time when I realized that for me, I can't be focused on one thing, because half the time I don't know what I'm doing anyway. I'm always learning. And as long as I'm still learning, there's always room for me to build capacity in some way by doing something that may be related or may be unrelated. But, it's to me worth the investment, the time, and the effort to just find out.
Yeah. Well, something I want to bring up, because as you've been talking, I've been thinking about this, and it occurs to me that you can go outside your comfort zone while doing the same thing. Like every week I'm making a video, right? Mm-hmm. I'm always making a video, and in the video I always build something, but it's going to be a different thing every week. And it's usually going to be like a different process or a different material if I can help it, or a different way of combining them. But at the end of the week, it's still a video.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I'm still doing the same thing, and people can still expect that. So I still have that consistency. But at the same time, I'm also crazy. At the same time, I'm not getting bored.
Yeah. I think that's important, and that's a skill. A lot of the things that we talk about on this podcast is about skill building. Like, these are things that you're not going to realize probably the first 10 times that you do it. You're just doing things, trying to find yourself, trying to find out what works. And it's not until you sit back and you listen to Makers Hustle when you realize that, maybe I am vertically integrating everything that I do. Maybe I am stepping out of my comfort zone. Maybe I'm not stepping out of my comfort zone. That's why we're here. We're here to help you get over that hurdle.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I never want to do is get stale. Like, I heard this back when I had a desk job. I heard somebody say this because I was complaining about how I was always doing the same thing and the job never changed, and it was getting really formulaic. I mean, after 10 years, anything will get formulaic unless you change it up a little bit. And if you work at a desk job, chances are it is not in your power to change it up. Somebody else has to do it for you.
Yep.
So somebody was saying, like, if you're not growing, you should quit. You should find another job because you're not doing yourself or your employer any favors. Because if you're not engaged mentally, if you're just going through the motions, you're not gonna be doing your best work.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's true no matter what you do. I mean, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be a maker, you could work at a desk, you could work for somebody else. No matter what you're doing, if you are bored with it, you're not going to be doing your best work. You're going to be waiting for the day to be over.
Yeah, I'll add to that. As someone that's had a business for 10 years now, it's very true that you need to stay engaged. And I mean engaged with your customer base too, because people will get bored with your designs. Like I said a few minutes ago, people want to see the same thing, but they also want to know that you're engaged with what is happening socially, what is going on in the world. At least in my case, people want to know that I'm paying attention, that I'm, politically engaged as well as engaged with my customers. And so that's why I always thought it was really important, and I still think it's really important, to listen to your customers, to pay attention. If you do events, if you're like me and you're a crafter and you go out into the world, people are going to come and talk to you. And if they're talking to you about things and you don't know what they're talking about, you need to Google it and find out and learn about it so that then your art can improve. Because you have to always sort of stay in touch with what society wants and what is happening in the world in order to keep your art fresh. And I think that helps me personally from getting bored after doing the same thing essentially for 10 years, because I am able to change it up in tiny little ways, like with my messages and my designs and things like that. So I'm not bored.
Yeah. Well,
that's
you
good.
It's funny. I'm actually an introvert by nature. You wouldn't know it if you saw the way that I, just am in person, but I'm actually an introvert, and I have to tell myself or force myself to go and do events like the one that I went to this week, the networking session and the boot camp. Like, usually I just want to stay in the house.
This is an excellent point, because so many artists are like this.
Yeah, I just want to stay in the house and build websites, make robots, and if I could, I would. I swear I would. But I have to consciously tell myself, Jeff, you need to go out. You need to meet these people. You need to make these connections. You need to do this. You need to do that. This is going to make you better. And at the end of the day, that's what I want. So I have to put myself in a position that's probably going to make me uncomfortable. And I'm really not uncomfortable because I can just go with the flow. It really doesn't bother me. I'm not like an introvert to the point where I can sabotage myself in public. But it is uncomfortable. Like, I'm really a shy person. Right. And
it's making just by definition is kind of like a solitary thing.
It is.
And a lot of makers
intimate.
And a lot of makers have either like social anxiety or they don't like being around people. They're either introverted or they're really, really introverted. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's true.
I'm just introverted.
Yeah, and now that we've got social media and we have these maker communities and maker spaces and stuff, and for a lot of people that's like their pathway into meeting other people who do the same thing, and that common interest is what allows them to get over that anxiety. Because I mean, Jeff, if you're talking to other people about something that you love to do, that awkwardness is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true.
It's still really hard to push yourself to get out of the house sometimes. I know as an artist, I could happily never leave my house again if I thought that I could get away with it.
Me too.
Because I love to make stuff. I'm happy being by myself most of the time. And it's true, if we're talking about comfort zones, that you really sometimes have to push yourself. And I'm a lot like what Jeff said. I really get a lot of anxiety when I think about how I have to travel to another state and do a big event. I have WonderCon coming up in the spring. I have a corner booth. It's like a big deal. I have to like set up this huge booth, and there's like tens of thousands of people there that come to that event. It's really very stressful. And if I were allowed to just stay in my comfort zone, I would just be like, nah, I'm gonna stay home instead. I'm just gonna, I'll come up with a new design. I'll post it on the internet. It'll be fine.
It'll be great.
Yeah, no, but it's not true, because every time that I do one of these outdoor events with lots of people, leading up to it, I'm filled with anxiety. But once I get there, I'm on my game, and I'm happy to be there. And I always meet wonderful people, and it always helps my business in some way. I've never gone to an event that didn't somehow help me later on down the road. If it was just a customer that I had never met before that ordered something from my online store, or if it was something phenomenal like meeting Bill and ending up on this podcast, every time I leave the house, even though I don't want to, because as an artist I just want to hide and create, but every time I leave, something wonderful happens. So that's a perfect example of getting out of your comfort zone for the good of your art and for the good of your life.
On that note, every single major change that has happened in my business in the last, year and a half has come because I got out of the shop and went and met somebody.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it was either I went to Bay Area Maker Faire, I went to New York Maker Faire, I met people at both of those events, I met you guys, and none of this stuff would have happened if I had not decided, okay, I have to leave the shop for a week and, go do something else. Yeah. And, I'm going to be sleeping on the floor of some guy who I met on Facebook, who I've never actually met in person, and then he shows up, oh, there he is in real life. Okay, hope he's not a murderer. This is going to be fun.
That happened to me at the last event I went to. I stayed with someone that I only knew from Twitter, and I was kind of terrified at first, but when I met her, she ended up being one of the most amazing people. Her name is Michelle. I absolutely love her now. I got to, stay in a hotel with her. I learned so much from her. She's an amazing artist. She introduced me to all these other artists. It was the same exact thing. And leading up to it, I was so freaked out that she was going to, be horrible or...
I think I left a nice note for my wife just in case I didn't come back.
I'm all, Johnny, this is the hotel I'm at. In case I'm murdered or I disappear. I share my location.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, it's cool. She's great.
That's funny. Called the dogs off. No, but it's funny because now that I think about it, that's probably the reason why I'm terrible with social media. To me, it's I have to share my intimates, and I guess I haven't grown to that point yet. And that's I'm comfortable with that, and I think I need to stretch. I have to stretch more. I have to be uncomfortable. I got to get out of my comfort zone in regards to social media. So it could be something not just in your work or the workshop or the stuff that you do on a day-to-day. By the way, Bill, I have a question. When you go into the workshop, I was thinking about this when you're talking about cleaning the workshop earlier, but I forgot to ask. When you're in the workshop, do you wear shoes?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, okay.
There's splinters and stuff.
There's sawdust and metal shavings.
Well,
and
you were talking about pads putting pads on the ground. And
because if you it's a cement floor. Even with shoes, it's going to hurt after a while.
Same here. I put those pads down. I have 2 different workstations, and one of them is where I use the molds, and I'm standing and I'm rolling the clay out, and I'm pressing everything and forming everything, and you can be standing there for 8 hours, and it's cement floors. So I did the same thing. In fact, every time I have a bathroom mat that I spill paint on or whatever because I'm a mess, I add it to that foam thing, so now it's a memory foam floor, where I just sink into it.
That's funny.
I recommend doing that.
No, I was just curious because I don't know, I pictured you in the workshop with those shoes, just socks. I don't know why. Maybe
I wouldn't have any feet left, dude.
I don't know. I never work standing up. I'm always sitting down on the couch, so I guess I'm always comfortable. I'm a little too comfortable, so that's why.
No, man, I'm working with splinters and metal shavings and fire.
Yeah.
And glass.
His socks light on fire. That'd be so sad.
Welding
so
with
sad,
no
but
shoes,
funny.
not a pro maneuver. Not good.
Nope.
So, okay, I just completely lost track of where we are. Where are we?
Okay.
We were talking about how awesome being uncomfortable not getting comfortable is, and how much growth can happen. That's the reason why when you work out, that's why your muscles get bigger. Your muscles get bigger because you tear the ligament, and that ligament gets filled up, and that's what that muscle grows. So you don't even get stronger without being uncomfortable.
Well, that's like when I broke my arm when I was a kid. I actually broke my arm twice when I was a kid.
That went left very quickly.
What's up?
No, I say that.
That went south.
That went south very quickly.
Oh, okay. No, but I remember when I was healing up, they were saying, just, to try to like make me feel better, they were saying, did you know your arm bone is going to grow stronger at that spot? You might break your arm again, but it'll never be in that spot. And it was true. I broke my arm again, and it was about 2 inches to the left. But
Whoa.
But yeah, so that's a good analogy, I guess. The things that you do that are uncomfortable to you make you a stronger person and a better person. So whether that's stepping outside your comfort zone by working with materials you don't usually work with, or trying out designs that you haven't done before, or going to events when you really just want to stay home on the couch and watch Netflix, or any of those things.
And we've said this a million times, and I think it was Laura that first said it, that your art is only as good as your life, essentially. So if you don't go out and do things and learn new things, your art is going to stay stagnant, and you want to grow, and you want it to be at least interesting.
Yeah.
You want it to be relevant. You want it to be important. In order for it to be that, you do kind of have to push yourself and go out of your comfort zone and experience new things.
Yeah, it's true. Because whenever I come home from one of those trips, I'm really happy to be home, and I immediately go down to the shop and do something really cool.
Yeah.
Because I have all these ideas. Have you ever been on one of those trips where you see something and you're like, I need to go home and work on something right now?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm always taking notes. Like I said, people come up to me and if they say something to me 3 times, it gets made, whatever it is. So, yeah, I definitely think it's good.
That was random, but I just went out and bought some very nice notebooks from Staples, because I plan on taking more notes. I feel like I do a lot of thinking as I'm just moving, and for some reason I like writing it down. I don't like putting it into Siri. I know that's something that we talk about, Amy. I'm gonna get better, I promise, in the future. But I like taking notes, and I have stickies. That's usually how I do it. But I feel like when I write stickies, after I write on them, I throw them out. So by having a notebook, it's gonna allow me to continue to go back and just see what I was thinking about. Maybe I'll lose an idea and then come back to it later. I don't know, but I want to definitely start writing more in the notebook. Kind of like journaling, but not so emotional.
Can you be sure to mention us, because you might be our Anne Frank someday?
Hey, I got you. I'll be honest
definitely
with you.
Write about us. Put some notes in there about us in case,
I will,
the Trump Gestapo comes and gets us.
I think statistically I'm the one most likely to still be around, so maybe I should be writing the notes.
Very true, yes.
And I'll go hide at Bill's apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. No,
He's going to build a false wall. Me and Jeff will be in there.
It's so funny.
I'll be making surly-ramics.
Oh, you know
worry.
what? That's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, as of the recording of this podcast, tomorrow is the day that gets inaugurated and the United States falls to
Well, is anybody going to be watching?
No. I'm not. Nope.
So this is what you should do. You should turn your TV on and turn it to another channel. Because if it's
does that really work? Do they
really
only track that? Unless
that
you're
only
one
works
of
if you have one of those Nielsen boxes.
Yeah,
which we don't.
Otherwise, they don't even notice.
Oh well, never mind. Forget it.
No, they only track it if you're a Nielsen household. If you have the actual box on your TV, in which case you would know it. It's not like they installed it secretly.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then having your TV on doesn't do anything.
Oh.
This is all pointless information because
man, I wanted him to have
happened.
a fit. I wanted to see if he would do a Twitter. Like, yo, my ratings are fraud.
Yeah. It's all rigged.
It's all rigged. More people watched. No, never mind.
Hey, for all the people who, I know this is coming out afterwards, but let's recommend some other things to watch instead. That's a good idea. Transition.
My gosh. I am so excited because my husband happens to be like one of those people that votes for SAG, whatever.
Oh,
like
really?
he gets to vote
Screen
for the
Actors Guild?
movies. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
And,
cool.
and he's part of like a union because he's an editor, and so he gets to vote on like movies and TV for their editing, right?
Okay.
So we get screeners, and I just got Hidden Figures. I'm
Ooh.
so excited. So I don't even have to go to the movie theater, but you recommended that, I think, last week. But so because I have an in, I get to watch it at home. I'm so super excited. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Inauguration Day, is watching Hidden Figures. So I'm super excited about that.
That's dope.
Yeah,
We'll
I
have a
haven't seen
conversation
it, but
about
I'm really
that.
excited. Yeah,
We're going to
I
have a
can't wait.
conversation about that.
Yeah.
Excellent
Everybody else
movie.
tune into Saturday Night Live whenever possible, especially if you have one of those ratings boxes, because we know how much that bothers the president.
Oh. Well, we'll see.
What about you, Bill? You got any recommendations for watching things?
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel called La Fabrique DIY.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're
Is it
French.
fabric?
No, it means like the factory, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they it's like the website is like a French version of Instructables, and it came into my head because I wrote a tutorial on Instructables on how to make that knife a while ago, and I actually entered it in a contest and I won a mug.
Oh,
congratulations.
that's a cool mug.
It's a stainless steel mug.
Wow.
So I'm drinking my water out of a prize. That's fun.
That's really cool.
That's
But they
awesome.
just made they took some wood and an Arduino, and they made a tea making machine. So you put a tea bag on it, you put your cup of hot water there, and it's on a timer. Like when you put the tea bag down, it'll dip it for you, and then it brings it up and it raises a flag, and there's a little bell on the string, and it like jingles when it's done. So you can put your tea there and set it up and walk away, and when you hear the bell ringing, your tea's done.
Oh.
But it doesn't heat the water for you?
No, you bring the hot water over because everyone's got one of those electric kettles.
So this is something people really need? I mean, they can't dip
it's not
their
about-
tea bag?
It's not about need.
Yeah, I'm gonna say most people make. That's what making is about. Making is.
Yeah, good
If it was
point.
something that we
Yeah.
needed, it would be an industry. It would be
Yeah,
like.
this isn't product development. This is making
Yeah.
a silly little thing out of wood. Because it's just, I'm sorry, Amy, you have to watch it. It's the cutest little
Okay.
thing. There's a little flag
All right.
on a stick. It waves, okay?
Aw,
Like, hey,
okay.
your tea's done.
like an old
seriously,
Tom
it's
and
the
Jerry
cutest
cartoon.
thing. Yeah. But it's
Aw.
just, it reminded me of getting outside your comfort zone because I don't work with any of that electronic stuff. You know, I don't do any Arduino or whatever.
Yeah.
But we had an old coffee maker that kind of stopped working. It was one of those Keurig things, which I hate. But we had one, and
love
it
the
stopped
Why are
working.
those why are those so popular? Why do people love those so much?
Because
The
they're
Keurig?
expensive and they make bad coffee.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's not
drink
good
tea
coffee.
from the Keurig. I'm not a coffee guy, but it's so easy.
Yeah, I guess if I could just have a cup of coffee whenever I wanted and I didn't have to do anything, I could see the
Yeah.
appeal.
Yeah.
Press a button.
Anyway,
you
but
come
I had
back
one.
in 30 seconds. It's
Hey,
done.
this is not a Keurig ad. Stop. They can cut us a check.
You're right.
Don't worry, because I'm saying it's trash, and I,
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't understand why people want them.
Right, but anyway, so we had one that stopped working, so rather than just throw it away, I took it apart. And there are all these, like, circuits and switches and doodads in there, so, like, some of the switches, I'm going, I could do something with that. So I've started, like, desoldering components off of the boards in case I want them for something else. I'm probably not going to use half of this stuff, but it's fun to see how things work, you know what I mean?
It is. That's
But
how
just-
I got started.
Seeing that and then seeing that video made me think, you know, I need to do more electronic stuff because I don't know anything about it. So, La Fabrique DIY, go check it out. It's good stuff. I'll have a link in the show notes.
Well,
Can I
that
make a
wood frame you
confession?
did was
Yes.
pretty cool.
That
I
what
have
I
a
did?
The wood frame with the lights on the inside, that was
Oh,
an
yeah, yeah,
electronic
yeah.
start. You started there. That's a good way
Well,
to
that
start.
was, yeah, but it's kind of cheating because that's just power.
You'd be surprised how much it's just power. Usually,
Yeah,
it makes
okay,
a difference.
fair.
But go on, Amy. I'm sorry.
I sort of feel like this is how the steampunk movement started, and I have a confession to make that I hate steampunk because
Me too.
because they take apart watches and they use all the gears, but they don't do anything.
But they don't do anything.
It drives me up a wall. Like, if you're gonna take apart an old watch, at least use those gears to make something else. I mean, how many watches have to die to
I'm pretty sure they were
fulfill
dead
their
before they
sick
took them apart.
obsession? I don't know. Well, then repair them, you know? Or use those. Like, I would love steampunk if all the stuff...
Worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the fascination with the gluing the gears and...
I know. It's okay. You got a bunch of gears that don't work on the outside of a hat.
Yeah,
Good for
why?
you.
I have no
Yeah,
idea
like,
what
no,
you
make
guys
it do
are talking
something.
about.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
at
know
least
what?
make
Make
the
it
hat-
like Make the hat like raise and lower your monocle or something. I don't know. Figure it out.
Or pours a beer, like Simone just did that video where she made a robot that like pours a beer and like throws it at you, kind of.
Oh like, God! Did you see the one? Somebody made a giant version of her like vegetable chopping robot.
Oh yeah.
It has 8-foot knives on it. Okay, she chopped a stove in half.
Yeah,
you have to watch this.
Yeah, the Megabots.
Yeah,
Megabots. They're actually trying to start a giant fighting robot league, and they did a Kickstarter. I want to say it was 2 years ago. They raised over $1 million to basically fund that company, seed that company. They're making the giant robot, and they even challenged, I think it was Japan, to a fighting match.
Oh, I would like to join their resistance.
Yes. That was cool. That was a great one.
I would like them on our side, please.
That's cool, and you can ride in it too. It's a 2-person robot, giant robot. Right now it's on wheels, but I believe they're trying to put legs on it.
Nice.
I want one of those in my front yard. Scare away all my neighbors.
Get off my lawn.
The ultimate get off my lawn or I will dice you.
All right, I did my recommendation. Who's next?
Well, okay, if we're actually doing recommendations.
I missed the memo, Bill. You gotta...
Okay, wait. I got one other because I saw this super cool video that I love so much, and if I ever end up making videos and getting over my fear of videos, this is how I would want to make videos. It's called 3 Truths About Trumpism, and regardless of how you feel about the new president, this video was done so well. It's an illustrator, and she's drawing, and then there's someone doing a voiceover, and it's so incredible the way she draws everything. And it's perfectly timed with the narrator, and then each drawing sort of turns into another drawing. It's mind-boggling and gorgeous, and it's perfect in every way. And we'll put a link to it in our show notes. It's called 3 Truths About Trumpism, and it's on YouTube. It's gorgeous. Check it out.
Cool.
Okay, all right. So my recommendation for this week is if you are interested in getting a crash course in web development, I mentioned it earlier, the Flatiron School, go to flatironschool.com, might be the flatironschool.com, I don't know. But they are offering their $3,000 pre-boot camp course for free. And you know I love free. So you can go on to their website, or if you want to try a different one, General Assembly. So usually the way it goes, after one person does it, they all got to start doing it. So generalassembly.com is also making their pre-boot camp course free as well. So I signed up for the Flatiron one first, but then once General Assembly did theirs, I signed up for theirs too. So I'm gonna do the first one, and then I'm gonna reinforce the things that I learned in the second one. So I'm getting probably about, I believe it's 70 hours worth of content for the first one, probably 70 for the other one. I'm getting 140 hours worth of content for free. Woo. Saving a couple $1,000s. So I recommend if you're interested in web development, and this is great because I think as far as side hustles go, web development is a great side hustle. If you can learn how to make a website, you can make a lot of money in freelance web design. And this is something that you can do on a laptop in Starbucks. Right? You can literally make thousands of dollars without an office space. You can work. You don't even have to work from home. You can work from your home if you want to, but you don't have to. I sound like that YouTube commercial. Anybody else seeing that real estate YouTube commercial?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry but I just sounded just like them. It keeps coming up.
By the way,
every
the
time
people who go to Starbucks
video.
and then sit there for 4 hours with their laptop can go with the steampunk people on the list of people I don't like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then I go get a coffee and there's nowhere to sit.
Oh.
They're writing a screenplay. Leave them alone. They're going to be famous.
They're going to be famous. Let them work hard,
I just had an idea, and this is not something we've done before, and it might be a terrible idea, but why don't we give each other homework? Like, if the topic is getting outside our comfort zone, right?
Look at my face right now.
I know.
Okay.
But, okay, here's something.
Let's
like,
hear them out first, and then we'll
homework.
agree or disagree.
All right. Well, like, Amy, I want you to get over your fear of doing video. I want you to post something on YouTube.
No. You know what? You're posting this on YouTube right now, so okay.
This doesn't
done.
count. I'm the one doing it. I want you to do like a time-lapse drawing or something on YouTube.
Amy, this is why people do great things for Bill, because he's always pushing the envelope.
Oh, don't worry, Jeff. I haven't gotten to you
I know
yet.
you are. I know it has something to do with social media. I know it. I'm already,
Yeah, you know why, man? Because you build friggin' robots, and yet you don't show anybody any pictures of robots. If
I'm
you
shy.
posted a picture, even just once a week, okay? You posted, I think, 2 pictures, and then you
shy,
like,
Bill.
oh yeah, I did it, and then you stop.
I'm very self-conscious of my work.
You're not showing your face. Come on, dude.
Point, Bill. That's
Just-
not the point.
Okay, I want at least a picture every week of like robot stuff or something. Just come on, man.
Or
I know that
parts.
3D printers going at least more often than that. I'm just saying, like, if you want to get this STEM thing
You're
off
right.
the ground, if you
You're
want to
right.
attract investors and like
You're right.
momentum, you
You're
need
right.
people to know who you are, because you can have the best idea in the world and it doesn't matter if nobody knows about it.
You're absolutely right.
So you got to work on your marketing, buddy, and that means you need to get on Instagram. It's the perfect platform for you, so get to it.
And also, I should say this too, because I've been doing a lot of research in investing. If you're not on Instagram, for those of you who are listening to this podcast and you're thinking about marketing and getting yourself out there, Instagram is the only way to go, because that's the only platform right now that is offering organic reach to people, right? If you have a like page on Facebook, nobody's going to see it unless you're paying for that like. If you're
True.
trying to market on Twitter, nobody's going to see your tweets unless you're promoting them. Instagram is the only one that is offering organic reach. And it is, if you look at interactions, click-throughs, all the data, it's coming from, I believe, 80 to 90% of all interactions and click-throughs are happening on Instagram. So if you're not on Instagram, you did Facebook and Twitter. If you're not trying to pay, then it's really not really to anybody's benefit. But if you are on Instagram, it is going to add value to your platform or whatever it is that you're doing. And this is coming from the investors, because the ad tech market is getting crushed right now. If you're working for an advertising firm, like in 10 years, they're not going to be around, because all of that marketing is not bringing any type of return on an investment. And a lot of a lot of companies are turning to platforms like Instagram and paying, influencers a lot of money just to put those things up in their platform. So, and this has nothing to do, but you're absolutely right, Bill. I do need to get on Instagram. So I got you. I will do this for a month.
Fair is fair.
a month.
So both of you need to, you can come up with something that I got to do.
You have to edit my video if I'm going to put a video on YouTube.
How does that take me out of my comfort zone, though?
I don't know. I know it'll annoy you, so I know you'll be mad while you're doing it.
Oh,
All right, so we have a deal.
I don't know.
okay. Fine.
All you got to do, Bill, is put her name underneath it. That'll technically fall under
Yeah,
editing.
seriously. If I do a time-lapse drawing, you're just going to see me making stuff, so you just have to plug in, like, at Surly Amy on there somewhere for me.
Nice. Well,
right.
speaking of at Surly Amy, where can everybody find you guys?
At Surly Amy, or
Good.
surly-ramics.com.
Nice. Jeff?
Right. At more 4, the F being the number 4.
And at One Car Workshop.
All
That
right.
was easy. Nice.
And we are at Gone.
I like it.
Good at that.
So that's it for this week. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, please take a moment to leave us a rating and tell us what you think. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Makers Hustle. If you want to ask a question, give us some feedback, or suggest a show topic, you can contact us through social media or send an email to info@makershustlepodcast.com. Once again, thank you so much for listening. We love having you here, and while this show might be over,
The hustle.
the hustle never stops.
stops.
I was the one who was out of time. See you next week, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Hasta luego.